Yes, definitely. We have some IMSA race, and also you can catch coverage of today's GMR Grand Prix at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway Road Course on NBC with the IndyCar pre-race show starting at 2 p.m. Eastern, and then official race coverage at 2:30 p.m. Eastern. So be sure you don't miss the GMR Grand Prix. It should be an exciting race in the IndyCar series. And before I dive too deep into our IMSA preview, I know we stated at the beginning of the 2021 racing season that we would have IMSA only content, and that will continue, but on a smaller scale. We'll be focusing on the remaining Michelin Endurance Cup rounds, the Salem 6 Hours of the Glen, and Motul Petit Le Mans at Road Atlanta for the standalone IMSA programs. And as we continue our transition here at Grid Network, we'll add the IMSA sprint races to Grid Live pre-race. With that said, it's round 3 of the WeatherTech Sports Car Championship, the Acura Sports Car Challenge at the Mid-Ohio Sportscar course. We only have DPI, LMP3, and GTD in action this weekend. LMP2, GTLM off. In DPI, Ricky Taylor and Felipe Albuquerque from Wayne Taylor Racing lead the standings by 8 points over the Mazda duo of Oliver Jarvis and Harry Tinknell. Those two teams definitely getting off to a good start. However, a team off to a slow start is the Action Express Racing. Wheeling Engineering team Felipe Nazir and Pippo Durrani are seventh in the championship standings, 118 points back after 2 races. So plenty of racing left to make up for lost ground for the Wheeling Engineering team after 2 6th place finishes at Daytona and Sebring. What will be more challenging in your opinion? Wayne Taylor Racing and Mazda keeping the momentum rolling after a strong start to the season, or Wheeling Engineering Racing avoiding an early season slump?
I believe it's Wheeler Engineering Racing having a slump. Those we talked about those two drivers. Um, they're gonna have to find a way to to get back to victory lane. I know both drivers are successful here in the IMSA WeatherTech Sports Car Championship. So, um, Whelen Engineering Racing better find a way to get back at least at least contending for the win, if not a top five finish.
I'm gonna go with I think the chance would be for Mazda. We know Mazda is exiting the sport. That puts a lot of pressure on themselves as well. Like any team that knows they're exiting, they want to go out there on a high note. So the pressure is on them, I feel, a lot more than the other teams. Yes, everyone's going for the win. But when it comes to Mazda, they know this is our last opportunity as the Mazda team to go out there and get that win. Going to add on pressure. And the big thing, of course, is things start to go wrong. It seems like that's when things just start to build up. And next thing you know, that early momentum you have is gone. And now you're just trying to contend to salvage something and get a win. I think the big pressure is on Mazda to try to continue that high momentum and try to leave on top.
Yeah, Joe, you bring up a really good point about Mazda. It's actually that slipped my mind. That is their last season in the WeatherTech Sports Car Championship for the time being, and I'm sure Mazda, the best way for them to go out would be obviously to go out there, win the championship, go out on top, and I'm sure that team is gonna keep on rolling throughout the season, try to end on a positive note. But I do think that a lot of the pressure is going to be on Wheeling Engineering Racing, Felipe Nazar and Pippo Durrani, 2 6th place finishes. I mean, looking at last season, they didn't really get off to a good start last season, but with Pippo Durrani, they were still able to finish high up in the championship, and they had a shot towards the very end. So it's not necessarily a death sentence for the team that they're that far back in the championship right now, but they need to at least get finish on the podium tomorrow at Mid Ohio to get some type of momentum going. Because if you get in a slump, bad things keep happening. You keep finishing at the bottom of your class, getting minimum points. By the time we get to maybe at least Road America, it might be game over championship wise. In regards to the LMDH platform, Porsche recently announced that they would return to top level prototype competition in 2023, reuniting with Team Penske. And as I've said before, Team Penske and Porsche worked together and and enjoyed a lot of success in the American Le Mans series back in the day. And the team is going to be called Penske Motorsport, a 4 car Penske Porsche LMDH program, 2 cars in IMSA, and 2 cars in the FIA World Endurance Championship. Penske's IMSA team will operate out of the shop in Mooresville, North Carolina, while they'll set up another shop overseas in Europe for the WEC. Previously, Penske found. Oh yeah, I've already said that. And now they're gonna get the band back together with Penske and Porsche to go after the Rolex 24 24 Hours Le Mans, and more. A couple of years ago, Chip Ganassi Racing concluded a similar program filled in for GT entries on both sides of the Atlantic. What's the most intriguing aspect of the new Porsche Penske Motorsports LMDH program?
When it comes to the new program, I think it's just so exciting to see that we're going to have both sides of the Atlantic, Team Penske, Porsche racing. That's going to be just, I mean, Penske, which of course, everywhere, NASCAR, IndyCar, supercars, they have drivers that fans really tend to follow and gravitate towards. And now to have them in sports car, and especially some of the biggest races that we're talking about with WEC, Le Mans, Rolex 24 Hours, this is just going to be something where for the fans, for WEC, IMSA, they're going to be following drivers there now. They're going to be more vested in 24 Hours of Le Mans. It's a huge deal for sports car fans. I feel like in the United States, doesn't exactly draw the attention like it really should. But now with Penske and Porsche there, this is just going to bring a lot more attention, and especially American audience that follow Penske in IndyCar and NASCAR.
Personally, I love this news. Now with Penske back in IMSA and WEC, one question that's been boggling my mind is, now that Scott McLaughlin races for Team Penske in the IndyCars, did Roger give him a shot to compete at the 24 Hours of Daytona, the 12 Hours of Sebring, and maybe in the future, the 24 Hours of Le Mans? I love it. I think this is really cool, for Roger Penske to be back in sports car racing. I think earlier this week we saw him in an old sports car that he was an owner of. I love it. I know the American fans will love it, and the worldwide sports car fans will love it as well.
Yes, and I think with running a 4-car program in IMSA and the WEC for the big enduros, it opens the door up for extra entries like Rolex 24, like Chip Ganassi did with the Ford GT program. They entered obviously the 2 IMSA Ford GTs and then the 2 Ford GTs from the World Endurance Championship. With Penske running this 4-car program, we could potentially at the Rolex 24 2023, we could see 4 Penske Porsche LMDH prototypes. And then 24 Hours of Le Mans, depending on the entry list, we could see 4 Penske prototypes running for Le Mans. That's just really exciting. And you mentioned Scott McLaughlin, Adam, and I think McLaughlin's in the past he's also said that he would be interested in running some endurance races as well, getting that on his resume. And overall, Porsche figuring out the driver lineup, that's going to be really tough because I know they have a lot of factory drivers that would really like to be a part of that program. I know we saw Matthew Jaminet running LMP2 car, one of their younger factory drivers, trying to get some prototype experience, and I wonder if that could be a signal that maybe he might be interested in it, in the position. And also they have drivers who were a part of the previous Porsche LMP1 program who are still out there, like Brendan Hartley, who's now at Toyota. Also Neil Johnny as well. Some really fast drivers who found a lot of success in Porsche. And also, I'm sure some other drivers as well who have prototype experience will be high up on Porsche's list. And of course, Roger Penske has also put some of his IndyCar drivers in the seat as well, so they might be in contention. So there will be a lot of seats for Roger Penske to fill come 2023. And coverage of the ACURA Sportscar Challenge at Mid-Ohio starts Sunday, tomorrow, at 2:30 p.m. Eastern Time on NBCSN. You don't want to miss the intriguing battles in DPI, especially the ACURA teams trying to win in the manufacturer's backyard and the close action in GTD. Plus, Andretti Autosport is stepping up to the WeatherTech Sports Car Championship this weekend in LMP3 with Jared Andretti and Oliver Askew. And it's interesting because Andretti originally said that they were going to run the IMSA Prototype Challenge this year with the potential of moving up to the WeatherTech Championship next year, but they decided to get a head start on that. And I'm wondering, getting in prototype racing now, could we potentially see Andretti Autosport sign with the LMDH or LMH manufacturer?
It's definitely going to be very exciting. And of course, once again, we encourage all our fans, and especially sports car fans, be sure to follow us all season long. we'll have standalone IMSA program during the endurance races. And of course, there's a link in the video description to all our standalone programs. Myself, Kobe, and Aaron Vogel, sports car racer, breaking down the races. Of course, we've done Daytona, Sebring. We're definitely excited to be with everyone for Watkins Glen.